What's up, everybody? As you can tell from the title, we're going to be doing a deep dive on a new lawyer added to Charlie Adelson's post-trial appellate case. It's very important for that distinction, especially for the lawyer we're going to dive into. I've done this on a couple cases where we really look at the breakdown, we look at the bio, we look at the resume, we spot check to see if they're actually listed on some of the websites they say that they are listed on. And we're going to do that kind of a deep dive today on this lawyer. And there's a very specific reason why. Azam, as many of you know from the chat, messaged me on Instagram and said, "Hey, Peter, Charlie Adelson got a new lawyer. He's supposedly the best appellate lawyer in Tallahassee. Do you know him?" And she didn't tell me who it was. And I said, the only guy I could think of, and the person that is like the guy for appeals in Tallahassee and across the state, really, is a guy by the name of Michaelufferman. And she said, that's the one. So we are going to be doing a deep dive on Michaelufferman today, somebody I know pretty well, and I'll discuss my feelings on him and my interaction and how I know him. And we'll talk about that kind of at the end of the video, but I'm going to reserve that. And we're going to start out with just the objective things we can see online and what we can find out about Charlie Adelson's appellate counsel, Michaelufferman. Hit that like button if you guys haven't already, and make sure you subscribe to our page. Hit that reminder bell so you don't miss any videos that we come out with. So we are going to start, as we do with any lawyer these days, at his website. It's the Michaelufferman Law Firm. The Michaelufferman Law Firm is committed to assisting clients in need of representation in the legal system. The firm's number one goal is protecting the client's rights in a time of need. The firm offers experience and dedication with particular attention paid to the personal interests of the client. And judging from his picture, as you see the bow tie, I think it's important to point out this is a Tallahassee lawyer. He is a Tallahassee guy through and through, because we talked about the South Florida lawyers, the Miami lawyers, prior or even currently still in this case, how that's looked at in Tallahassee, how Donna Adelson wished Charlie's case would have been in Miami, how they wish that his appeal could be handled down in South Florida. I shouldn't say Miami, I should say South Florida. And they all want it to be moved down there. They think it's unfair that it happened in Tallahassee with a Tallahassee jury that doesn't get him. It's not a jury of his peers. So what does he do? Well, he gets himself a Tallahassee lawyer. Now, I will tell you, I have seen lawyers from all over the state and even other states come into Tallahassee, come into Tampa, come into South Florida, and crush it. So I don't necessarily agree that you have to have a guy from that area, but I also don't think it can hurt. But I think in this situation, he felt like it's something that may be necessary in this situation. So he went out and got the best guy in Tallahassee, in my opinion. The firm concentrates on state and federal criminal appeals and state and federal post-conviction motions. That's exactly what he's doing for Adelson. Mr. Ufferman is admitted to the practice before the Supreme Court of the United States, the United States Court of Appeals for the 3rd, 5th, 6th, 9th, and 11th Circuits, and the United States District Court for the Northern, Middle, and Southern Districts of Florida, and all state and appellate courts in the state of Florida, so everywhere you'd need him. Mr. Ufferman has handled hundreds of state and federal appellate and post-conviction motions. Mr. Ufferman has drafted state and federal direct appellate briefs, post-conviction appellate briefs, federal 2254, 2255 motions, and 3.800 and 3.850 motions. Mr. Ufferman has appeared at oral argument before the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, the Supreme Court of Florida, the 1st, 2nd, and 5th District Court of Appeals. I would have guessed he would have argued in front of the Supreme Court. That's how legit he is. It seems like he has not yet, but maybe one day in his career. Here's a very interesting thing. Mr. Ufferman is the author of the book, Florida Criminal Practice and Procedures, the 2023 edition. It is a comprehensive guide to pretrial criminal procedure, investigation of criminal offenses, and stages of trial. So he literally wrote one of the books on this stuff. And if you're wondering why an appellate lawyer would write it on the trial stuff and the pretrial stuff, well, guess what? They're the ones that go back and read through all those motions, read through all those transcripts and all those arguments to see if people did things wrong. They have to be experts on all those rules, how things are done, so that when they pick it apart post-trial, they know what to look for. Perhaps most importantly, he is board certified in criminal appellate law. Very impressive. And here's one of the reasons I know him. In 2015, he became the president of the FACDL, the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. My dad's a former president. In 2010, he received the FACDL President's Appreciation Award. 2009, he received the President's Extra Mile Award. In 2009, he was elected to the board of directors. He's also served as the chair of FACDL's Amicus Curiae Committee. Mr. Ufferman served on the board of directors of the Innocence Project of Florida from 2007 to 2014. I believe my dad worked with him in that time period as well. He's a frequent lecturer. I've sat in some of his lectures, having spoken at statewide and local seminars, including FACDL's annual meeting and FACDL's showcase on sentencing. Mr. Ufferman has previously served on the Florida Bar's Criminal Law Certification Committee. Mr. Ufferman earned his Bachelor's of Arts from Miami University in Ohio, not University of Miami, graduating cum laude and majoring in both political science and history. And he earned his JD from the Harvard of the South, as they say, the best law school in the state of Florida, maybe the best law school in the world, Florida State University College of Law, in 1997, graduating with high honors. After graduating from law school, Mr. Ufferman clerked for Justice Major B. Harding at the Supreme Court of Florida from 1997 to 2002. In 2002, he joined a law firm till 2004, where he left to start his own law firm. So for about 20 years, he's had his own law firm. He is a member of the FACDL, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, the American Bar Association, and the Tallahassee Bar Association. Everything you would expect a lawyer like him to be a part of, from local, state, and national levels. Now let's just take a look at his CV, basically, which is just kind of a broken down version, bullet point version. Legal experience, his own firm, prior firm, clerking at the Supreme Court of Florida, which is a very hard thing to do and great thing to get. Honors and distinctions. He's received award after award, mostly in appellate law. He is a Florida super lawyer since 2013. We're going to check that out. He's a legal elite. He's a top lawyer, corporate counsel, awards from FACDL. He's been recognized as in the top legal guide. He's been published in Criminal Practice and Procedure. Obviously, this is like next level, basically. The book other people use to, teach out of, learn out of, practice out of. It's better than just being published in articles and things like I've been published on. But he has a bunch of articles as well and lectures as well, which are really important. And it's important to look at. He speaks about ethics, record preservation, practice tips, appellate law, ineffective assistance of counsel, again, which is an appellate issue, ineffective assistance of appellate counsel. That's interesting. That's even more niche. Preservation of errors if something goes wrong in trial. And when I talked about in one of the other videos talking about the objection to juror number 1, did you preserve that for appeal? These are the types of things he teaches on and is an absolute expert on. Keynote speaker, professionalism, ethics, preserving claims for appeal. You get the gist. He is on the Florida Bar Criminal Law Section Executive Council. My dad is also a member of that. He has been on the Florida Bar Rules of Judicial Administration. He's been on the Florida Bar Criminal Law Certification Committee. You can tell the things I find important as a lawyer and that I put a lot of my time into: local, state, minor, mostly civil, like Florida Justice Association. I was the young lawyer chair. I was on the board of directors. Local Bar Association, Clearwater Bar. I was on the board of directors there. I'm involved in the young lawyer section there early on. The Florida Bar Association, I'm on the Civil Rules Committee. I'm going to roll off because I've termed off. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but rules of judicial administration or rules of evidence are things I'm looking at. He has been on all these, the criminal law section, the rules of judicial administration, how the rules are written and implemented and used in Florida is important to him. So he's a rule maker and a leader. That's something that we look at as lawyers when looking in and evaluating other lawyers. And then again, here's all the leadership positions he's been in. And again, a lot of them focus on criminal law and appeals. Education, again, we already know. FSU, Miami University. And he's admitted, and we read all where he is admitted. Okay? So, about as impressive of a resume as you can have. Next, let's spot check one of the websites like we did with the other lawyers to see if, in fact, he is what he says he is. And he is a super lawyer. Here is my super lawyer's profile dashboard that I can search for other super lawyers. So we will do that. As you can see, mine is, it says your practice areas, personal injury, criminal defense, and then how long you've been a super lawyer. So I've been a super lawyer Rising Stars 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. What is important about this and why I pick super lawyers to look at is this is not just a pay to play one where you can just like buy an award. This, you have to be nominated, peer reviewed. They look at your cases. They ask other lawyers in the community about you. And then they select a limited number of people. You can pay to be published and promoted and whatever through it, but this is actually one that you have to be selected into. So find a super lawyer, and we are going to look for Michaelufferman in Tallahassee, Florida. And what do you know? There he is. Michaelufferman. There's his bio, which we've read. Here we go. Practice areas, appeals. 100% appeals. And he was a rising star from 2009, 11, and 12. And he has been a super lawyer from 2013 to 2024. And if you're wondering why mine is a rising star from 2017 all the way till now, you are a rising star super lawyer, I think, until you hit the age of 40. So I still have a couple more years, God willing, of being a rising star super lawyer before I graduate to the actual super lawyer level like Mr. Ufferman is. So while we have this up here, that's his background. That's the deep dive. That's what we can find online, as legit as they come. As good of a lawyer as this guy is, he is absolutely, without a doubt, a better human being. He is so incredibly nice and generous with his time. If I were to call him to ask him a question about anything related to appeals or anything else, he would answer the phone. He would take the time to explain it to me, go through it with me, help me. If I was going to hire somebody to do something for criminal appeals, if it wasn't going to be my dad or somebody internally doing it on a case that we handled, he would be the guy I recommend. I mean, this guy is the criminal appellate lawyer. Another fun fact, his wife is also a lawyer. And what is so cool about them is, and what I love and like kind of my personal connection to them is, as you noticed, he went to Florida State College of Law and he has handled oral arguments in all of the courts across the state. So he was one of my guest coaches, judges, and giving me feedback and critiques when I was in law school on the Florida State University College of Law moot court team. And specifically, and his wife was as well. And she's just as smart as him. He'd probably say smarter. And they together in two separate practice. So what moot court is you get a problem, you have to write an appellate brief, and then you have to do oral argument on it. So in one of my problems that I had, I wrote the appeal, and then I was doing the oral argument. My strength was definitely oral argument. I did my best on the appeals. I was good enough to get on the team, but I was not the best at writing the appeals. I was good enough, but my strength was the oral argument. And so when I would do it with them, he was incredibly kind with his comments, but had a lot of really good critiques. His wife did as well. And we still joke about it and talk about it when I see him at the FACDL events I go to, like with my dad. I'm not as involved in FACDL. I don't do as much criminal anymore as I used to, but I still see him around. I play in the golf tournament that they do at the FACDL. He always wears like funny FSU pants. There's another guy that's a Gator that wears these, crazy Gator pants, but he is an incredibly nice guy. And I owe a lot to he and his wife, because the problem that they helped me on, I think it was my 3L year when I went to, no, it was my 2L year when I went to New Orleans, Mardi Gras competition at Tulane. I got the second best oralist award, is how they call it. Second best oralist. No dirty jokes about that. But I can thank him for that. In the whole competition, I had the second highest oral argument score across the board. So that was pretty awesome. And I owe a lot of that to him. So this is a guy I have fond thoughts and feelings about. I think he is the appellate guy. Now, some of you may not be happy about that for what you think about Charlie Adelson, but here's what we can say. If they go through this appellate process and lose, we can feel confident Charlie Adelson got the best representation there was. And if he doesn't get a new trial, if nothing gets overturned, then he is guilty. If anything went wrong in that trial, my guess is Mike is going to find it. And maybe I'll reach out to him. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of this. because I don't know how people feel about it, but maybe I'll reach out to him and see if he wants to come on and talk about the appeal. See if he wants to come on and talk about the issues at trial, maybe, if he wants to, that he can point out and maybe we can discuss together. We'll see if you guys want that. Let me know in the comments and I can see if I reach out to him. If he's comfortable doing it. Obviously, I don't want to put him in a position where he thinks it wouldn't be good for his client or his client doesn't want him to, things like that. They've commented on, what's going on in social media and the public attention on the case. So maybe Charlie would not have a problem with him coming on here and kind of discussing the issues that he saw with the trial. I'd love to hear that personally and learn from him. I love learning from people. And I know you guys do too as an audience. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. If you enjoyed this type of content, hit that like button so I can know maybe we can dig into some other lawyers in the future. I was not worried about digging into Michaelufferman because I knew what we would find. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Until next time, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, The Lawyer You Know.